Bundyaki obviously is the other one who's in the middle of contract negotiations, and some indication that he too is kind of eager on a bit of a path out. Like, obviously, he was brought in, I don't think it was expressly at the time, but there was certainly an indication that at some point or another he was obviously going to qualify for Ireland, and at that point we'd get him involved and away we go. Like, is there not almost some sort of a inbuilt inference that if that happens, like, you're going to stay here for your career? Like, is it not a bit of a slap in the face for Irish rugby if he decides that he's leaving?
You can't expect a player just to say, right, now, on one hand, there's been a lot of investment in him and he's been incredibly well looked after here and paid pretty well. His new contract was a significant increase on the original one he signed, the first one.
Yeah.
But you can't expect a player just out of loyalty to stay and not be able to move. Well, if you were a professional rugby player or a professional sports person, you'd understand, Adrian. It's cutthroat business. You know, if Bundyaki gets injured in the morning or he's gone, someone else comes in. It's just. But
it's a different set of circumstances because you've been brought in here expressly to come and play for Ireland.
And that's what I mean at the start. Of course, there's definitely a scenario where you feel that because Ireland have put him on the map, he's gone playing international rugby. He's earned significantly more money here. Not just his contract or his IRFU contract, but he's got match fees for playing for Ireland fairly consistently in the last couple of seasons. But you can't expect someone to just go, well, I'm going to stay here now. If he gets, you've got to weigh up the option, and people realise it when they retire. You know, it's sport, it's business. People move on. It'd be incredibly disappointed. I'd be very disappointed if he did go. And I think he'd be a loss to Irish rugby, and it would be a little bit of a slap in the face to say, well, look, we've brought in a New Zealander here, he's become Irish qualified, and then after 5 years or whatever length of time, they decide they're gone and they're, you know.
But it's full of slaps in the face.
It is, like, and you know, ultimately, Nathan, he'll go back home someday. You know,
it doesn't make it right. Like, if CJ Standard did the same thing, we'd be saying,
yeah,
like, this is ridiculous. Like,
but there's hypocrisy
giving you a massive contract. You've taken a lot of caps off some Irish players.
You use both ways. You know what I mean? It's sport, and that's it. And
like, the IRFU are cynical in bringing Bundyaki and CJ Stander in. Like, they're bringing them in with no connection whatsoever to Ireland to boost Irish rugby.
Yeah, but the flip side of that is that they're taking a punt on them. They're going out on a limb to bring this player in, obviously with the idea for the betterment of Irish rugby, for the betterment of the game, ideally that we start performing at World Cups, etc. So they are going out on a limb for them. And then if at some point after that they go,
but it doesn't matter. Your contract is your contract. You signed for X number of years. You renegotiate. You're happy with the offer, or you're not. Something else is on the table. You weigh it up. And I wouldn't hold it against anybody. I'd be disappointed but that's just the nature of it, and the IRFU will know that. Like, at some stage,
the IRFU didn't care less about the player CJ Stander was replacing, or the player that Bundyaki was replacing, whose career they were stalling.
Yeah, or vice versa. If they're replaced by someone else, you know, you could slip off the pecking order very, very quickly. And ultimately, both those guys will probably end up going back living in New Zealand and South Africa. I don't know. I'm speculating there, but I imagine they would. But if there's an offer comes on the table, and if CJ Stander, I'd be saying to my agent, well, see what's on the table and see what offers are there, and then you weigh it up and you've got.
I think there's going to be a lot of pissed off Irish fans if that happens.
Yeah, there would, because there's a lot of Irish fans stuck up for him, and kind of the controversy around becoming nationalised and stuff like that. So of course, yeah, a lot of people would be disappointed, but that's sport, Adrian, and whether you like it or not, it would be a slap in the face, but I would never hold it against a player having been there and done that. You know, Bundyaki picks up an injury, runs in the next few months before he signs a new contract. You know, there might be nothing on the table for him. That's just the nature of the business. So if Connacht want to keep him, the RFU want to keep him, they've got to put their best foot forward and hope he makes a decision to continue playing international rugby, because obviously if he goes to France, the UK or Japan or back home, he's not going to be playing for Ireland anymore. He
didn't have as much to say when Robbie Henshaw was leaving Connacht, I can tell you.
Yeah, but what's the unique
difference?
The obvious difference. I know you're in Mayo generally sort of blinded to like the reality of a situation. He was staying obviously.
I'll just sit back here.
He was staying within the IRFU. I mean, I understand that point, but it's different here because it is professional sport. I understand the point that Quinny is making. He would do the best for himself, but these guys have been brought in expressly with the intention to play for Ireland, and like whether you like it or not, that's the reality of it. And then at some point after that, they're saying, do you know what?
No,
all this kissing the badge.
that attitude you have is patronising bullshit towards Bundy Aki and CJ Stander, which is, ye lads, we plucked you from obscurity, we gave you a good life, and now you owe us
That's
till the end
literally what
of
happened
time.
with CJ Stander. He was
but
thinking about.
He
They were
owes
talking
us-
about
he
putting
owes
him
us
into
for the
the
rest
front
of his
row in
life.
South Africa. They didn't know what they didn't. He was looking.
So what, for the next 50 years, he must now live in
I'm not
Limerick
saying
and
that, but
thank the
listen.
gods
But
that
hang
we
on a
saved
second.
him
He's
from
not like
obscurity.
living like some pauper. Like he's one of the best earning rugby players on the planet because he came here and was given a chance by the IRFU. Yeah,
but I think he's delivered enough. They've delivered. Bundy Aki's performed. You get paid to perform as a sports person, and like I said, it can change very, very quickly, and that's just the reality of modern sport. And for any of the top class players, and you hear a lot of them talking now, when they retire, you're gone. That's it. You're gone.
Yeah, but it's not like he's living like
no-
what my point is, it's not like he's on like threepence a week and he's struggling to make ends meet.
You think something should be put in at the end of their contract and say, please don't go at the end because
No,
we
but like there should be an inherent understanding that like we have plucked you in his case from obscurity. He wouldn't. He could have been lost to the game altogether.
So you
CJ Stander.
can't go. You can't leave and go on.
But the opposite,
I mean, you can, and the
How does that
evidence might be
work?
that they may do that. All I'm saying is you do that and you slap Irish rugby supporters in the face as you do it.
But should that work the other way? So say CJ Stander hadn't worked out. When he came through, should the IRFU have said, we're going to pay you 300 grand a year till you're 36, regardless of how good you are, because you're stuck here no matter what. So he needs to prove himself, but the IRFU
It's not that
don't
he's
need
proven
to.
himself. It's that there was a possibility with
I'll sit
that
back
one
again,
player
let's-
that we're talking about could have been lost from the game entirely and was given a chance here to play not to play professional rugby, to play international rugby, and has done bloody well out of it.
2v1 here. We're
I
you know
don't
what
think
mean?
I don't think Bundy Aki or CJ Stander should have been playing rugby for Ireland. But the decision was made to bring them in. You can't then
and lots of
hold them
people-
down and
Lots of
say you
people
can never
would-
leave.
Lots of people would think that.
I'm not
they
saying that.
shouldn't
I'm
have
not saying that, by the way. It's up to them to make the
been.
decision.
You're talking about loyalty.
Yeah.
Should there be
He
more
wouldn't know.
loyalty?
Loyalty.
There's no
Wouldn't know
such
what did
thing.
Roy Keane say? Loyalty.
Sorry, but there
Wouldn't
is
know
no
if
such
they
thing
did
as
the
loyalty on both sides, as I'm saying.
Correct.
So CJ Stander has blocked somebody in Irish rugby's progress. Somebody at Munster's done everything right, come through the academy, and CJ Stander's been landed in at number 8, and they haven't got to play for Ireland because of that. Where's the IRFU's loyalty to that person? Doesn't exist, because the IRFU's job is to do the best
It
thing
works both
for
ways,
Irish
and,
rugby.
and the players got to deliver and perform, and if they do that, they get paid the amount of money and stuff, you know. But your point is valid, and that there should be, you know, should it come into the thinking if Bundy Aki's making this decision, well, all this stuff has been done for me and it's facilitated me. Of course, it should be on his mind, but ultimately, if he's getting offered 600 grand contract from someone else and there's 300 on the table here, well, there's a gap there.
Look, I understand that. I
So it
understand
depends. But look, you would hope it doesn't come down to that and that Marmy and Aki stay, because I think what's happening in Connacht and what Andy Friend has done, given where they were 2 years ago before he came in and the poor season they had under Kieran Keane, you need to build people around. The likes of Aki, Marmy and Carty, bring through more young players. So
Isn't that the bigger issue here, actually, and one that will piss off Connacht fans yet again, is that I don't see any of the star players from Leinster, Munster or Ulster being tempted by big money offers abroad. So why are Kieran
that's not
Marmy
true.
and Bundy
That's
Aki?
not true.
But they ultimately always stay.
But should we-
And maybe
these
they
two
ultimately
lads
always
could
stay.
end
Maybe
up
they
staying.
do.
I think they'll end up staying unless they get an outlandish offer. But I would imagine, as I said, that Aki
An
eventually
old
will go
investment
back
account
and,
offshore somewhere and
will eventually go back and live in New
Do
Zealand.
that in Connacht.